If 2026 need to be different financially, it doesn't have to be with big money goals, but it just need to be with different money habits that you have to create. Now that the holidays are gone, it's time to go back to getting back to your finances so that we can make 2026 the best year ever on our finances. And in this video, I'm going to be covering 7 money habits that we need to do in 2026 to set ourselves for the best year that we can have. Habit number 1, paying yourself first. This habit, I cannot overemphasize is when we pay ourselves first, we are making ourselves a priority, because most of the time what happens is that we pay everything else and we pay everybody else, but we pay ourselves last. And remember, it's not how much we make, it's how much we keep. I want that to sink in. It's not how much we make, it's how much we keep. How much are you keeping in your, after your paycheck, after you have paid everybody else? Most of the time, we work on paying ourselves last. We make our cable, we make our car payments, we make Netflix, we make every other bill come first instead of paying ourselves first. What if we paid ourselves first and said, you know what? I'm the one who's going to work and I'm going to pay myself first. And the best way to do this is maybe out thinking about how much money do I think I can be able to comfortably take out of that paycheck to just direct towards myself. And you call yourself a bill, put your name on top of that and just say you are giving yourself the best future that you can, because when you're paying up yourself first, you are paying your way forward to your future. So make sure when you're paying your bills, your name is on top. And maybe you can call that, be creative, create a name that really is gonna motivate you to do that. You can say my future self, my any name that you feel like you want to call that name and call that account that. And after you do that, make sure you automate it, because the key about automating this is that all the other bills will come, and then when everything else has been paid, then you're going to be left with nothing. So automate that and pay yourself first. Habit number 2 is stop spending more than you make. This habit alone can change everything for you in 2026, because the reason most of us get in trouble is because we are spending more than we make. And that's how we get into debt. That's how we have stress of money, because guess what? We have all these things that we desire or we need, but then our income is not matching with what we have or the bills that we have. Therefore, we end up using our credit cards, we end up getting to debt, and the cycle continues. And then we live a life of stress with money because we spend more than we're making. So this year, make it the year that you're like, you know what? I am not going to spend anything more than what I make. Look at your bills, look at how much you make, and look at how much you're spending. Is it matching? It is any way that you're making money and then you're not even being able to account for all that your money is going. Maybe it's time maybe to get another job, or maybe you might not even need another job. Maybe it's the way you're spending your money. So this habit number 2 is a very great habit to stop in 2026. Habit number 3 is build an emergency fund with the intention. Maybe in 2025 you had the intention of saying, you know what, I'm going to create an emergency fund. I'm going to start building my emergency fund. But what if it's January? What if you start this year off and saying, you know what, this is the year I'm going to be very intentional and I'm going to create my emergency fund? Because when we create an emergency fund, then when we have those emergencies, we avoid those emergencies becoming debt. Because how do we get into debt? We get into debt because most of the time we're using money that we don't have, or something comes up but it's not covered. Then now these credit cards become the debt, becomes our safety net. So make sure that this year that you are making an emergency fund your number 1 priority. Habit number 5 is automating what you can. When you automate, it cuts down all the hassle. And because you want to create more time to be able to be looking at your bills, automate everything that you can. if it's your cable bill, if it's your car payment, if it's things that every single month, that on the 5th, on the 10th, this is the time that I pay my bills, this is the time my cards are due, automate that process. And I know, like, if you have an inconsistent paycheck, do not do that. But if you have a consistent paycheck and every month how much money that you are making, make sure that you automate this very thing, these bills, because it gives you a mental bandwidth when you sit down to do your finances, because you are just looking to just make sure that everything is going well when you have automated everything. And I have done that for my life, and it has been such a time saver for me, and there is no stress because I'm not trying to figure out all these things. So when I know that my bills are automated, I don't have to worry about writing checks, I don't have to worry about late payments and all that. So make this habit also, and I know I keep saying a priority, make sure that this habit, if you can, automate your bills. Habit number 6 is clearing your debts with a clear plan. Make this year the year that most of the time people usually say, I want to pay off my debt, I want to pay off my debt, but most of the time they don't end up paying off their debts because they didn't have a clear plan. Maybe you had a plan to pay off your debts in 2025, but did you know how much you wanted to pay? If I ask you right now, how much amount of debts did you pay in 2025? Do you know? And it's always so good to make sure that you audit your numbers and what you did. And I did a video 2 weeks ago talking about how to audit your year, and I'm going to put that in the description, because it is so important, so that you can know whether you're heading into the directions. Like for me, I'm excited. I paid like almost 40K last year alone. Yay. And I'm hoping and trusting to pay more this year. I'll keep you posted on that. But make sure you have a clear plan. Pick one debt. Is it the debt that has the high interest? Pick that one. Which one of the debts is giving you headaches? Pick that one debt, continue paying off all the minimum balances on the other ones, but this one big one, or the one that you feel like is stressing you out, get rid of it. Or if you feel like you want to start with the snowball method, where you have little small bills, and this is what I just did. I was never a person who wanted to pay small bills, but I had these small debts that I really were nagging me. They didn't have a lot of high interest, but they were just because they were like 1, 2, 3, and I wanted that number of the debts that I have to shrink. So I had to get rid of them, in December, to just make sure that I have just a few bills, and then all that money I'm going to start putting into one big debt that I have. So if that's for you too, just pick one, but just make sure you have a goal, because without a goal, 2026 is going to be another 2025. So have a clear goal, and let's be this year, 2026, make a habit of just eliminating debt with a plan. Habit number 7 is fixing the leaks. If you want to have the best 2026, this is the time for you, before the year goes by so quickly, to fix all the leaks that you have in your finances. And what do I mean by leaks? I mean, like, if you didn't audit your year, as I said before, look through your finances and see, is there anything that is going out of my paycheck or out of my budget that I could be able, that it's leaking, that it's not really doing anything for me? Maybe you have Netflix and you don't even watch it. Maybe you have cable, you're paying for cable, but yet maybe most of the time you watch YouTube. Are you paying for subscriptions that you forgot that you had? Are you paying for gym membership that you haven't even gone to the gym, and maybe you're thinking, this is the year that I'm gonna go? If you haven't gone for the last 4 months, just cancel it. Don't think just because we turn the calendar that you're going to be able to go. Because I know a lot of people think, oh my goodness, it's a new year, maybe I'm going to do it. It's fine. I love New Year's, but most of the time it's just a turn of the calendar. So just continue with what you were doing. But if you have leaks, like literally, take your last paycheck or take your last bank statement and look through it, comb through it and look and see, what is it that I'm spending my money on? And I know maybe December is not a good month to look, because maybe there was holiday, there were gift buying and all that kind of stuff. Maybe by the end of this month, or even just looking into your November bank statement, look through it and see where are my leaks going? How am I spending my money? Audit it and see, is there anything that is going out monthly that I don't need to be going out, and where can I put this money? Because if we don't fix these leaks can be very, very expensive. And I was just last year when I was auditing my bank statement. I have a business account that one of the bank that I have here was charging me $16 because I didn't have so much money, because it's a business account, but you need to have so much money in it. And when I looked and calculated how much money that I paid over the past couple years, just because I didn't have this big money in that account, I was like, why was I doing that? So I had to close that account, and I had to tell myself, you know what, I'm changing this bank. So I had literally to change my business bank account, because I found a credit union that was doing the same thing, but it wasn't that I didn't have to have all this money in that account, because the bank that I had was a large bank, and I guess you needed to have so much money. So you see, that was a leak that I saw, and I wasn't even thinking about it, but I saw, and I was like, why am I giving this bank $16 every single month? And I had like 2 or 3 accounts. I don't even want to know how much money that I spent. Like, I calculated and I was like, are you kidding me that I've given this bank all this money? But sometimes we just like going through stuff and you just don't look. So make sure that you're auditing your bank statement and seeing whether you have any leaks, and fix all those leaks. 2026 doesn't have to change just because, as I said, the calendar changed, but it has to change because your habit changes. So make sure that these 7 habits, you don't have to do all of them, but look at maybe one habit. Which one can you start right now and say, oh my goodness, I love this habit, Maggie, and this is what maybe I'm gonna work on, and then when you master one, go to the next one, and then go to the next one, and then you just keep piling on this mastery. Because guess what, if you don't change anything in this year 2026, it's gonna be like another year, and maybe you're not gonna accomplish anything. So let me know in the comment, which one of these habits are you gonna be changing? Is it automating your bills? Is it paying one debt? Or is it paying yourself first? I would say pay yourself first. Let me know in the comment, and I will see you in the next video.